Thanks for staying with us on the South Australian Sports Show. Time to take a look at what's been happening in the SANFL. A couple of great guests from the Woodville West Torrens Footy Club. Michael Godden, of course, the coach of the Eagles. Chris Branson, the General Manager of Commercial Operations. Did I get that right?
You've got it right.
5 weeks in the job, mate. How are you finding it?
Yeah, it's great. There's a great group of people at the Eagles with our members and sponsors, who we call partners, and also just the general board. So I've been welcomed fully, and it's great to be there.
Commercial operations, what's that entail?
So we're split into two operations. Luke Powell looks after the football side of the business and reports to the board, and I report to the board and look after our licensed premises at 722 Port Road, also at the Woodville Oval, where we've got the events centre there, and we also look after the events management side as well as the finance side, and our partners. So it's an all-encompassing non-football related role.
All right, now, Mike, we've got to get to you, mate. We try and get past the dark time, mate, of losing the grand final this year. But 7 years at the club, 3 grand finals, 1 grand final win, been in the finals every year. I mean, you've done a fantastic job at the club. Does that all get lost on losing a grand final 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, it does. It does get lost, I think. When you're running a footy club, the objective is to be competitive every year. Obviously, we want to win the flag, but we understand there's a lot of other teams that want to do that. So to be there 3 times in my 7 years has been, has been a good effort, and you have to pat yourself on the back for it. But to only win one of them is the frustrating bit, because the 3 flags would have been good, but you can't have everything, I suppose. So to be there and have the experience 3 times has been exciting.
Mick, you've got such a good model down there, haven't you? I mean, that's the reality of it. Your reserves are always playing in grand finals, your 18s are really successful, your league side plays in all the finals. So is that a model that you've created yourself to get to that kind of consistency throughout the whole 3 clubs? I mean, last year, wasn't it? 2015 was the first time for nearly 100 years that you finished minor premiers in every grade. Yeah,
it is, Rock. We about 5 years ago, probably after my 2nd year, I think we started to work on that. After we won the 2-11 grand final, we knew that it was going to have to be a bit of a rebuild, and we've done that from the ground up. So we want to have a self-feeding environment, so our kids need to have a pathway through to league footy. We don't want to be a recruiting type of club. So now this year will be tested probably more than ever with that, because we've been able to keep a lot of our senior players for many years, and they're starting to get to the end, so they're moving on, and we'll now put all the kids that have done our 18s, our reserves, and some of these guys have played in 5 grand finals in a row. Through our 18s played in 4 grand finals in a row, and then a prelim this year. Our reserves have played in 4 grand finals, I think, in a row, and won the last 3 flags. So only lost 1 game in 2 years. So it's been an extraordinary effort. So these guys, they know success. So we expect to have sustained success when they come into the league side.
Well, you were one of the coaches when Port and the Crows came into the competition. You were probably the one that embraced it the most, that you were finally going to get a side that you could coach every training session rather than waiting to see what's coming back from the AFL clubs and play them in positions that the AFL coaches wanted them to play in. Have you still love that thought? Is that the way you've...
I got a bit of flack over that one, but no, I'm comfortable with it. We had 16 AFL listed. So I was having to rotate 12 players through my squad that aren't training with us at all. So it was a really hard thing to manage. So to consistently sort of get those guys back up was hard, along with dealing with our players. Dropping players when an AFL player came back was a difficult thing. So, look, I stand by it. We've got exposure now. The SANFL is continuing to be an important part of AFL football in Australia. And, I stand by it. And I've been challenged many times. Coaching against AFL clubs is difficult. The budgets are different, and obviously I have a lot less coaches. So for me, it's been a real growth area.
Mick, you lost some senior players through retirement. Luke Jarrod retired, Phil Raymond and Jared Redden. So you lost nearly 400 games on 3 players. I know 7 have gone, but those 3. What's coming underneath them?
Yep, so a lot of good kids. So we will go with the youth now. So we've been able to hold a lot of our kids, which has been probably better than most clubs. So now a lot of these fellas have played 40 to 50 reserves, maybe 5 to 10 league. And they're about 22, 23. So they're absolutely ready to go. So we don't see the importance of recruiting too many players. We'll put them in there. And I think there's probably 6 to 7 positions up for grabs at the moment in the league side, which is unusual. And that'll be filled completely from within. So we're really excited about where that could take us.
So you lose Nick O'Brien. Do you chase Paul Stewart now?
We would like to think Stewie will come on board. Being delisted after 100 AFL games, he's only 29 years of age. He's got a couple of years to go, I expect. So, we've been really good at keeping our Eagles juniors that have been delisted, and his body's in good shape. So if he doesn't get relisted in another AFL club, hopefully he's lining up for us next year.
And when you go to recruit, the SANFL in the last couple of years, the profile started to lift again, and we saw that evident by the final. We over 37,000 people at the game. Has it become a little bit easier to entice players to come back into the SANFL?
Yeah, from the VFL especially because of the status that we have, and to have plus 30,000 is a really important thing for players and their opportunity to get back into the AFL. But to be in a system which we're pretty professional. We're part time, but we're very professional. So yeah, and we're pretty lucky at the Eagles to play in 3 of the last 7 grand finals, and obviously playing finals every year. A player knows they're going to be around the mark every year, and we expect that, and we can just about promise it, and we put that on the line every year.
Yeah, mate, a good mate of mine coaches your 18s, and he reckons he's just a production line for your success, and you ride on his coattails. He tells you he puts in 30 hours a week for $4 grand. How do you just? How many hours are you going to put in for your 200, mate?
Geez, I can't believe he only does that. We'll have to have a chat to him about that. But no, we do a lot of hours.
He's overpaid.
No, he's a good man, Shane, and he does a very good job. So no, it's the little factory we have down there, and if he's getting 4, we'll have to have a look at that.
Chris, the commercial side of things, to run a footy club, there's massive expenses. You've only been in the gig 5 weeks. How do you? Is it an influx after a grand final? A lot of people seem to think if you make the grand final, suddenly the club becomes wealthy. It's not a fact, is it?
No, not at all. I mean, we're at the moment going out to our members about rejoining again for next year. That's gone out this week. We're talking to our partners about continuing on in an arrangement with the club so we can actually support their business as they support our club. And for any partner out there that wishes to be involved in a great football club, I'd love to speak to them, because we do try to look after those people in particular, because they're investing in us and we want to invest in their business as well.
Seems to be a really good knit in the whole club. We were talking to Mick before we came on air, and yourself come in. Has a real family feel about it, like the footy players support that. Sometimes there's a divide in clubs, the administrators over here, footy players are over here, and they don't really like each other, but there doesn't seem to be that.
No, well,
Woodville, West Torrens.
Between where Michael's office is and Luke's and mine, we're about 3 metres from each other. So we see each other talk every day, and obviously we all have our roles, but we need to know what each other's doing, because that has an impact. So if my particular area can generate the income and obviously minimise expenses, and that means there's profit that's actually coming back to the football club, and that can obviously be spent on development of players and obviously on the footballers themselves. With our licensed premises at 722 Port Road, we look at it as a community-minded, because whatever profits are made actually go back to football. So as a result of that, it's a great venue there. We've got 40 gaming machines. We've also got special nights with steak nights, schnitzel nights, other functions coming up with Melbourne Cup, Christmas. So yeah, it's a good feel when you actually go in there. So I'd encourage anyone who hasn't been. We've got a new menu coming out next week, so it should be good.
Yeah, we should stop looking at me when you talk about food. Mick, I want to ask you, mate, 7 years in the job and you've been successful, so suddenly there's going to be a knock at the door, inevitably, from an AFL club. So I guess 2 parts. One, has there been a knock yet? Or 2, are you thinking that one's not too far away, would you take it?
Not just yet. I've got a bit of unfinished business. A lot of these are guys I coached when they first started. So I want to complete that run and want to win a flag with them, which we've tried to do, and I certainly want to do that. I have aspirations to be in an AFL system at some stage. I'm in no rush. I'm only a young fella at 41 years of age. I'm happy to. I know that an AFL senior job is probably out of my reach. So to do something in a few years will be pretty exciting, but not right now. I've got 2 young kids. It's hard work.
Yeah, that is enough. Of course, the Woodville West Torrens Footy Club, they're down there on Port Road. Go in and put some money into the coffers so Mick can recruit some more players and get a grand final win next year. Stay with us. Still lots to come on the show.